Hello, my dear friends. Welcome to Just Breathe, the series where I share how to live in 100% surrender to our knowingness, to our isness, to our heart. And today, I'd like to convey a broader perspective of what it means to come into the now. So, um, because it really matters in actual life. What does that mean? I mean, how does that affect my reality? One important thing to realize is that this coming into the now is irrespective of what is going on outside. And that is maybe the click, the twitch to change gears. So, imagine you are in a terrible situation, terribly challenging, where it really feels that you are not in a good space. Okay. So that now seems to really not be a nice place to be, right? Well, coming into the now means really coming within ourselves into our safe space where we connect with our expanded wisdom, which is timeless. Our soul, our essence, is not bound by time and space. Yet, all of our physical reality is. It requires time and space in order to exist. But when we come into our center, into our stillness, into what I call our safe space, into home, we connect with that boundless essence of us that is not shaped by time and space. That is the permanent now. So our essence is the permanent now. It is not defined by the past or the future. And it is the permanent here. Because it is simultaneously in all other dimensions and completely and totally fully present here. So really, the challenge then is when we are in a really mucky situation, how can we manage to displace our attention from the survival mechanism that is creating the necessary stress for us to be able to protect ourselves if we are coming from our limbic system, from our instinct. How do we shift into that space beyond time, which is a space of stillness, where we really become, in a sense, invisible to the current situation that is being perceived outside? Because now we have become the observer of it, not the actor in it. So there is a clear distinction between instinct and intuition. Many times it is spoken of as the same thing. It is unrelated. Instinct is survival. It is part of our reptilian brain. Intuition, therefore inner guidance, is not limited by survival. It knows of its eternity. So there is no fear of death in that eternal now moment. And therefore, there is a completely different perception. And now, what difference does this make? It makes all the difference. First of all, as soon as you shift into that stillness, you disconnect with the drama. And the drama then stops interacting with you. I have tried this, and it works. So you sort of become invisible to that dimension of time and space where the drama is happening, because you come into another dimension which is timeless, and therefore not bound by the limitations of physical form. So you are not in a space of fighting against the situation. You are rather cooperating with your own presence. Completely different scenario. There is no way to fight against the darkness, because the darkness and the light are one and the same thing. So the light cannot fight the darkness, but it can merge with it. And as this merge happens, which is basically the same thing that I am saying about coming into the now, as you embrace whatever you are perceiving as dark, it no longer is perceived as the enemy. Therefore, you no longer have to survive against it. And it no longer has you as an opponent. And if you've seen Star Wars, you might remember some of this philosophy is in the films, but it actually works in real life. So for instance, imagine there's something annoying you. So now we're not talking about a huge dramatic situation, we're talking about something that is annoying. Imagine that, for instance, your neighbors have decided to break down a wall and it's Sunday at 6 o'clock in the morning and you want to sleep. So you might, of course, become extremely annoyed, and you might want to go and bang on your neighbor's door and ask them, what's got into them? How can they be doing something like this? Or you might try this that I'm sharing with you, which is disconnecting from the conflict with the situation, coming into the stillness within you, and finding out what happens. If you still feel annoyed with the noise, or if it no longer really bothers you and you manage to go back to sleep. Actually, sometimes what happens, because I've tried this repeatedly, is that the noise actually stops. Somehow, in your choice of coming into this space of non-conflict with a situation, that transforms the actual event that is taking place. Same thing happens if you are living a situation that has been going on for a while and you really, really have chosen for it to change in your life. Instead of creating huge expectations towards what it should be and envisioning yourself in that new life where that situation no longer exists and so on, why don't you, within the situation you are, first of all, of course, make your choice. What do you choose for you in your life? And be coherent with that choice now. So the situation outside will be whatever it is, but in coherence with your choice, you will choose to be where you want to be, inside. It may take a little bit longer than you want, that you might want it to happen instantly, the change, but I can guarantee it will change. I'm not going to go into specifics, but there was a time in my life where I was going through a very challenging experience, and I kept on choosing for myself. What do I want in my life? How do I want to live my life? And my choice was continuously, I choose to live in ease, grace, simplicity. I choose to trust and surrender to my essence. I choose to live in balance, harmony, love, joy, and serenity. And each time I repeated this choice to myself, I came into that space inside of me because it's already here. It's already in my here and now, in my presence. It exists. Always. It's permanently here. So I would keep on tapping into that. And though, of course, the situation outside was challenging, because I kept on tapping into that, eventually, what was in that situation was no longer aligned with my choice of staying in this flow. And so at some point it was no longer serving me at all because I was more and more in this space and less in the outside environment that I was perceiving. And so the situation ended and I moved on. I might have shared with you that my essence kept on asking me all the time, whenever I was moving into conflict, fight against or cooperate with. And my choice was always cooperate with, This didn't mean, of course, condoning whatever was going on outside and saying it's, oh, it's all fine. There's nothing wrong with this, and not setting clear boundaries and all that. That's not that. It just meant, now if I choose ease, grace, simplicity, to live in trust and surrender to my essence, to live in harmony, balance, love, joy, serenity, how can I show my whole self, the self that wanted to interact with the outside situation? How can I show that part if I am not capable of being in it now? Not in the future, now. Because you see, your essence is your future self already. Is not bound by past experiences, is not limited by expectations. So by surrendering continuously, what you experience is the fruit of that surrender. This is, I know, not easy, but living whatever challenging, hard situation you are in is also not easy, is it? Fighting all the time, making a struggle and an effort to get yourself out of situations you don't want or like isn't easy, is it? So what I am here proposing is to go a different way, but to go anyway. And of course, I keep on saying this, but this is all done through the breath. Staying in the breath, being in the breath. Thank you. Thank you. Just breathe and allow your breath to be your anchor to your wholeness.